Amy.
I'm Laura.
And we are Two Paper Girls. Today we're going to do our February wrap-up for you. I've read 9 things this month.
I've read 10 things.
Like, we're saying things because they're not actually books.
Yeah, I mean a lot of them are, but it's also like short stories and plays which are really short, so we can't really boast that we've read 10 books because it's not quite true.
Yeah, but we've read them for uni and they're pretty difficult academic reads, so
Yeah.
we're going to count them.
Yeah. So we have nearly 20 things to get through, so let's get into it.
The first book I read in February was What Maisie Knew by Henry James. This is a story about a little girl whose parents get divorced and they go off with other people, and the other people that they go off with get together. And it's the worst book I've ever read.
It's like Victorian Jeremy Kyle.
It's terrible. It gets 1 star out of 5. It's poor.
I need to read it, but I got a little bit behind because I read some pretty big books this month. So I will read it as soon as I can.
I really hate
Probably
it.
Easter.
It's just the long sentences. I don't know the whole point of James, that it is not meant to be like accessible,
Yeah, it's not.
but it's just awful.
One of the first things that we read this month was Sargarth of Orkney, which is a Middle English story which is from La Morte d'Arthur, which is the Stories of King Arthur written by Thomas Malory. We're including this because it was 70 pages long, which is nearly a novella, and it was really hard to read. So yeah, we're including this as one thing. I'd give it 3 stars. It was pretty good actually. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'll give it about 3.5. I'm a fan. Sargarth was good.
It was quite repetitive, but it made me want to read the rest of the Arthur stories and rewatch Merlin. So it couldn't have been that bad.
The next text we read in February was Every Man by Anonymous. Who knew? It was a medieval story and it was about a guy called Every Man. He's representative of every man. And he's a sinner. And then he repents. And then he goes to heaven. It's a morality play, and it was really good.
It was actually really good. Like, once you got your head around the fact that there was a character called Every Man, a character called Beauty, like, that was a bit weird to get used to, but it was actually really good. I enjoyed it so much more than I thought I would.
Yeah, same. I give this 4 stars. If I gave Sargarth of Orkney 3.5.
Yeah, I'll give it 4 as well. One of my main priorities at the start of February was finishing Jane Eyre, which I started in January but didn't finish. This book took me quite a while, but it feels like such a long time ago now. I can't believe I read this month. I probably read about 3/4 of it this month. I actually really enjoyed it. It sort of got a bit dragged out at the end. It was so much better than I thought it would be. Nothing like Jane Austen, which is what I was dreading. Yeah, I'd give Jane Eyre 4 stars, I think. It was really good.
The next book I read was Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by that guy. He's fab. This book was really good. It was really sweet. It wasn't what I was expecting at all, and you know what I mean if I read it. And it's just so lovely. It was really sweet. It did get a bit like repetitive, like at parts, because it was a bit like just, you know, you get like stereotypical YA. And
Yeah.
It was kind of like that, but it was really sweet, and I did get through it really quickly, and it gets 4 out of 5 stars.
Just going to quickly mention some things that we also read. I basically read some Robert Browning poetry, but I'm not going to include it as I didn't read it cover to cover, so I'm not including this in my 10 things that I read. But yeah, we also read some D.H. Lawrence short stories and some poetry. So all of this was happening this month as well. To add to the madness, we've had a good reading month.
D.H. Lawrence was really good though.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. And Robert Browning was pretty good too. But yeah, I'll just sort of quickly mention these.
The next one I read was Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Yay!
She finally read it.
It was so good. It was
knew
so
you'd like
good.
it.
I really want to read Crown of Midnight now.
It may be in my March TBR.
Yay! Because Laura says that I can't read it until she reads it, so I'm like, nag, read it, read it.
I had this problem with City of Bones where I read it, loved it, introduced it to Amy, my boyfriend, and now they've both finished the whole series and I've only read the first 2. And I don't want that to happen again because they can talk about it together and I don't have a clue what's going on and they're nearly spoiling me all the time. So
yeah, sorry about that.
So this time, I'm reading this series first.
Okay. Hurry up. I'm excited. I love Dorian.
I'm Team Kale.
I'm Team
We've got a
Dorian.
dispute, which is weird because technically we should be the other way around.
Yeah,
in terms of our
Kale's my
types.
type.
And Dorian's kind of my type.
But we're swapped.
Ooh, controversial.
5 stars.
The next book I read was Tessa the Devils by Thomas Hardy. I had to start this straight after Jane Eyre, which was a shame because they're quite similar. They're like Victorian, long, boring stories.
Everything bad happens to one woman.
This book was the most depressing thing I've ever read. Like, I quite enjoyed how it was written, and it had some good metaphors and everything. I enjoyed like the lectures and things, but my god, like the first half was okay. It just got so much worse. It was so like not a single happy things happens in the whole book. I think I'd give this book an optimistic 3 stars, because I definitely think it has its merit, and I think if I hadn't read it just after Jane Eyre, I would have liked it more. But yeah, wasn't a massive fan of this. It does have chickens on the front.
The next thing that we both read in February was The Miller's Tale by Chaucer from the Canterbury Tales.
Yeah.
We love Chaucer.
It was actually, yeah.
I think it's safe to say that we've read a couple of these now.
Yeah, we've read 3 and we've enjoyed all of them.
Yeah,
so.
every time we're like, I like Chaucer.
Yeah.
So we're going to say that he's good.
Yeah, I think I'd give this like 3.5 stars. I didn't like it as much as the other 2 stories I've read.
Yeah, I agree.
But it was good.
It's because it's one of these things called a fabuleux.
Yeah, it's like a weird comedy
Yeah.
thing, and obviously sense of humour has changed a lot.
It is still funny though.
Yeah,
But it's a bit stupid.
a little bit.
Stupid comedy.
But yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There's a Chaucer module next year, which I might be doing, so if you stick around till next year, then we might be reviewing lots of Chaucer. The next book that I read in February was The Dialect Project, which is a Doctor Who graphic novel by
Justin Richards.
Justin Richards. The art was really, really nice. It was like reading an episode. It was really bizarre. There was like, you could tell what the camera angles would be and the narration and everything. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I just needed a break after like Tessa the Devils and Chaucer, and this definitely offered that. I read it in like a couple of hours. Really good. I think I'll give it 4 stars.
Can I borrow it after you, please?
Of course you can.
The next book that we both read in February was James Joyce's Dubliners. I have another hatred for this book.
Yeah.
I'm in a bit of a reading slump now because with Dubliners and
What Maisie Knew.
Yeah. And the Middle English I'm having to read at the minute, it's called Confessio Amatis
Very hard.
by who's it by?
G.
G.
Is with a G.
Gower.
Gower.
It's absolutely terrible. But anyway, Dubliners is also terrible. It's just short stories about depressing Irish people that drink and beat up their kids. And apparently it's meant to hail the Irish. No.
It's lots of like creepy priests and weird sort of paedophiles and women that think like they can escape with marriage, but then they're like, no, I don't want to marry him. Yeah, I don't hate it like Amy does. I'm kind of impartial. I don't like it or dislike it. I'm just sort of, nah, it was okay.
I hate it as much as What Maisie Knew, so it gets 1 star.
I think I'll give it like 2.5 in between. It was okay. The next thing I read in February was another fun book. I actually bought this for my birthday, if you've seen that in the birthday book haul. And I saw how short it was and I just, again, wanted a little break. I read this in a day. It was Mileys Ghost by David Levithan. This is a retelling of the Christmas Carol, but as Valentine's Day. This, I think he's 16-year-old character, his girlfriend Marley dies, like the first ghost that visits Ebenezer is Marley, so it's like, very clever. It was actually really clever. It wasn't as good as I hoped it would be. I think it was a little bit cheesy at times. The ending was kind of cliche, but I should have really expected that. But yeah, it was still a really good, quick read. I think I'd give it a low 4 stars.
The next thing we both read in February was Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe. This was one of his plays, most famous play probably. It was really good.
About the guy who sells his soul to the devil, but this is where the actual original text comes from. It's actually 2 versions, but I was lazy and only read one.
Yeah, I only read the later version because there's one from 1604 and there's one from 1616 that has extra bits put in.
Yeah, so I read the second one because I thought it's probably better.
It is. It's more gory. It's fab.
Yeah. I didn't actually like this as much as Amy did. I did think it was good, but I think I wasn't in the mood for this sort of thing. I think if I reread it and watched it as well, like saw it performed, I would really like it. But I just found it difficult to get through. I couldn't focus on the language and the magic, but it was still good. I think I'd give it 3 stars.
I'll give it 4. I really liked it. I think
Yeah.
we should try and go see it soon because it's really good.
Yeah, we should. There's a Jude Law version. I hope that's on Netflix because that'd be attractive. The last book that I read in February is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. After reading The Dialect Project and Mileys Ghost, I was like, I can read fun books at uni as long as they're quick and they're fun. So this was just sat on my shelf. You may remember it from my Chosen Ones video where I chose certain books to take to uni because they were quick. And yeah, this definitely was. I read it in a day. It was really good. Problem is, I've seen all the hype on BookTube and everyone says, all the twist. So the entire time I was waiting for the twist. So I was trying to figure out the twist, and I figured out the twist. So that made it not as good for me, but I still give it 4 stars because the writing was good and the characters were good. And yeah, it definitely kept me reading.
The last full fiction novel that I read in February was The Radleys by Matt Haig, because if you've watched the previous videos then you know that I'm a newfound fan of Matt Haig, and when I realised that he had another book, well, quite a few other books, and I saw it in Waterstones, I was like, I'm going to have this. Just looks like a normal domestic novel. It's about vampires. It's amazing. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. It's very long though. And towards some points I was getting a bit this is taking me quite a while to read.
Yeah.
So I'll give it 3.5 stars. But I really liked it. And the last thing that I read was Ron Carlson wrote a story by Ron Carlson. It's a bit weird. He narrates his own story that he's wrote because he's a short story writer. We had to read this for my creative writing module, and it's a non-fiction book. And I don't really know if I can give this stars.
That's it for our February wrap-up. We did so much better than last month, at least I did. Amy read the same. I'm definitely in a reading hype now, so March is hopefully going to be a really good month too, and then we've got Easter, and we're going to read loads because no more uni reading.
Yeah, so it's going to be absolutely fab. Have a good reading month too, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.